My dear brothers and sisters, today's reminder is about one of the most powerful lessons in life. Focusing on yourself and trusting in Allah. Too often, we lose peace because we're focused on everything and everyone else. Who's doing better? Who's moving ahead? What's not happening in our lives? But when you truly understand that Allah is the one who controls every outcome, you realize that peace begins the moment you turn inward, fix your heart, and let Allah take care of the rest. We live in a world that constantly pulls us outward. Everyone tells you to hustle more, compete more, achieve more. And while striving for excellence is part of our deen, what truly matters is the state of your soul while doing it. Focusing on yourself in the Islamic sense doesn't mean selfishness. It means self-purification. It means looking inward and asking, how is my heart with Allah today? When you spend your energy trying to control everything around you, people's opinions, outcomes of your efforts, or timelines of success, you slowly drain your peace. But when you shift your focus from control to connection, from outcomes to sincerity, your heart begins to breathe again. This is what it means to trust Allah. You take action, but you release attachment to the results. The Prophet taught us that Allah looks not at our wealth or status, but at our hearts and our deeds. That means the true work is internal, healing your intentions, purifying your motives, strengthening your faith. When your focus is to become a better servant of Allah rather than to appear successful before people, everything around you naturally begins to align. Sometimes Allah withholds certain things to redirect your focus. He may close doors not to harm you, but to protect your peace and remind you to turn inward. That pain or disappointment you feel may be a divine invitation to pause and re-evaluate what truly matters. Maybe it's not the world that needs to change. Maybe it's your heart that needs to realign. Focusing on yourself means taking responsibility for your spiritual growth, your prayer, your patience, your gratitude. Because when the heart is right, your world becomes right. Even if nothing externally changes, your perspective shifts. You begin to find peace not in what you can control, but in who controls it all. And once you reach that level of surrender, you'll notice something beautiful. You stop overreacting to life's ups and downs. You start to flow with Allah's decree rather than fighting against it. You start to smile again, even when things don't go as planned, because deep down, you know, Allah never makes mistakes. Every delay, every loss, every redirection is just His way of moving you towards something better, something you can't yet see, but your heart can trust. So, my dear listener, focus on your relationship with Allah more than your relationship with the world, because the one who wins with Allah never truly loses with anyone else. One of the hardest lessons in life is learning to let go. We hold on so tightly to people, to expectations, to outcomes we think we need in order to be happy. We plan, we strive, and when things don't go our way, we feel anxious, broken, or lost. But the truth is, peace doesn't come from holding on. It comes from surrendering. The moment you release what's not in your control and place your trust in Allah, that's when your heart finally begins to rest. We live in a culture that glorifies control. We're taught to plan every detail, predict every outcome, and measure success by how much goes according to our plans. But Allah reminds us in the Quran, and they plan and Allah plans. And Allah is the best of planners. So Surah Al-Anfal $83. This verse is not just a statement, it's a reminder that no matter how perfectly we plan, Allah's plan always prevails, and His plan is always better for us, even when we can't see it yet. Sometimes, when Allah changes your path, it's not to punish you, it's to protect you. You may feel frustrated because your dua hasn't been answered yet, but perhaps Allah is delaying it because what you asked for isn't ready for you, or you're not ready for it. Maybe He's teaching you patience, resilience, or faith before He gives you what you desire. When you let go of trying to control every detail, You open your heart to trust that whatever happens, good or bad, is ultimately for your benefit. True tawakkul, trust in Allah, isn't passive. It doesn't mean doing nothing and hoping life will fix itself. It means putting in your best effort, then leaving the outcome in Allah's hands. It means doing your part and then saying, "Why Allah? I trust that you will handle the rest in the best way possible." It's an act of surrender, not weakness. It's a declaration of faith that Allah's wisdom is far beyond our understanding. Letting go also frees your soul from anxiety. Anxiety thrives on overthinking, constantly worrying about the what ifs and maybes. But when you trust Allah's timing, you no longer need to know how everything will work out. You start living in peace because you believe that Allah already knows. And that belief, that Allah has already written your story with mercy and care, is the foundation of emotional freedom. There's a beautiful serenity that comes with saying, "I did my best, and now I leave it to Allah." That's when you stop chasing what's not meant for you and start attracting what is. That's when your nights become restful, your heart becomes lighter, and your mind stops racing. Because you finally understand that the same Allah who took care of you yesterday is taking care of you today. And He will continue to take care of you tomorrow. So let go. Let go of the things that weigh you down, the fears, the regrets, the need to control. Hand them over to Allah, the one who never disappoints. Because when you do, you'll realize that what you thought was falling apart was actually falling into place, exactly as He intended. Comparison is one of the greatest thieves of inner peace. It quietly slips into your heart and convinces you that your life is not enough, that your journey is behind, that your blessings are less. You scroll through others' achievements, relationships, and moments of happiness, and slowly, without realizing, your heart becomes restless. But the truth is, Allah never created two stories to be the same. The moment you stop comparing your path to others and start trusting Allah's custom plan for you, that's when peace enters. Every soul is on a unique journey. What Allah wrote for you was never meant for someone else, and what He gave to another was never meant for you. The problem begins when we start measuring our worth through the lens of other people's timelines. You see someone getting married earlier than you, someone achieving success faster, someone healing quicker, and you begin to question, why not me? But Allah's timing is precise. He withholds not to deprive, but to prepare. He delays not to punish, but to perfect. When you live in comparison, you stop living in gratitude. You start seeing what you don't have instead of what you do. You forget the countless blessings that surround you because your gaze is fixed on someone else's garden. But remember, the flowers in their garden might look beautiful, yet you don't know how much rain, pain, and patience it took to make them bloom. Every person you envy is carrying a hidden struggle, a silent test that you cannot see. Allah reminds us in the Quran, "Do not wish for that by which Allah has made some of you exceed others." Surah An-Nisa 4:32. This verse teaches us contentment, the kind that sets your soul free. What is written for you will reach you, even if the whole world tries to stop it. And what isn't written for you will never reach you, even if the whole world tries to give it to you. The moment you accept this truth, your heart stops competing and starts resting. You begin to focus on your growth, your faith, your character, your relationship with Allah. You begin to appreciate your own pace, realizing that Allah is never late. Every delay has wisdom, every hardship has purpose, and every blessing comes at the perfect time. Peace doesn't come from having what others have. It comes from trusting that what you have right now is exactly what you need for your journey. When your heart is content with Allah's plan for you, comparison loses its power. You no longer need validation from the world because you already have approval from the one who created it. So stop measuring your worth by worldly standards. Your journey is sacred, your timeline is divine, and your story is still unfolding. beautifully, perfectly, and in the best way Allah has written. Let others run their race, and you run yours with faith as your guide and trust as your strength. Because peace begins the moment you stop competing with others and start connecting with Allah. One of the most overlooked truths of spiritual life is that real growth often happens in silence, away from the eyes of people, away from recognition, away from applause. We live in a world where everyone wants to be seen, validated, and celebrated. But Allah teaches us that the most powerful transformations happen in moments of seclusion, sincerity, and quiet striving. When you work on yourself privately, your heart, your habits, your connection with Allah, He prepares you for blessings that will later unfold publicly in ways you could never imagine. Private growth is sacred because it is pure. When no one is watching, your efforts are only for Allah. When you wake up before fajr, not for anyone to see, but to whisper your pain to your Creator, that's growth. When you forgive someone quietly, not for the sake of pride, but for the sake of Allah, that's growth. When you control your anger, hold your tongue, or choose patience over reaction, those are victories no one claps for, but Allah records every one of them. The Prophet A said, "Whoever humbles himself for the sake of Allah, Allah will raise him." This means that every unseen effort you make, every tear you shed in secret, every prayer you offer in solitude, they are seeds planted in the soil of sincerity. And just like a seed grows underground, hidden and unseen, your growth may not be visible to others right now, but when the time is right, Allah will make it bloom. Sometimes we become discouraged when our progress goes unnoticed. We want immediate validation. But remember, Allah sees what people don't. He hears the silent du'as you make when your heart feels heavy. He knows the battles you fight behind your smile. And He promises that nothing you do for His sake will ever go unrewarded. The growth you nurture in private will one day become the strength that others admire in public. If you look at the lives of the prophets, you'll see that their greatest preparation happened in solitude. Yusuf A.S. was tested in a prison before being raised to power. Musa A.S. spent years in the desert before leading his people to freedom. Even our beloved Prophet Muhammad A. spent time alone in the cave of Hira before the light of revelation came. Their isolation was not abandonment. It was divine preparation. So if you feel unseen right now, if your efforts seem to go unnoticed, don't be discouraged. You're not being ignored, you're being trained. Allah is strengthening your faith, polishing your character, and deepening your sincerity. When He finally opens the doors for you, you'll walk through them with the humility, wisdom, and grace that only private growth can teach. Keep growing, even when no one applauds. Keep striving even when no one sees. Because Allah sees, and that's enough. The blessings that follow will not only surprise you, they'll remind you that every unseen moment of effort was worth it. There comes a time in everyone's life when things don't go as planned. The dua you prayed for doesn't happen. The opportunity slips away, the relationship ends, or the door you were certain was yours suddenly closes. In those moments, your heart begins to panic. You ask, why, Allah? Why me? Why now? But it is in these moments of uncertainty that true faith is tested and true peace is found. Not when everything goes your way, but when you surrender to the one who never makes mistakes. Trusting Allah doesn't mean everything will be easy. It means that even when things are hard, you believe there's wisdom behind them. It means you stop fighting the flow of life and start flowing with Allah's decree. You understand that He sees what you cannot see. Maybe that delay is protection. Maybe that heartbreak is redirection. Maybe that closed door is saving you from something you're not ready for yet. And maybe, just maybe, Allah is preparing something far better for you, but you have to let go of what's temporary to receive what's eternal. Peace begins when the heart stops resisting Allah's plan. You can't find calmness while doubting His mercy. You can't find comfort while holding on to fear. But the moment you whisper, "Why Allah, I trust you. Even if I don't understand right now, I know you are with me," that's when the storm begins to quiet. That's when anxiety loses its grip and your soul finds rest in surrender. Remember, Allah says in the Quran, "And whoever relies upon Allah, then He is sufficient for him." Surah At-Talaq 65:3. This means that if your trust is in Allah, you already have everything you need. He is enough for your pain, your confusion, your fear, and your future. You don't have to control every outcome. That's Allah's job. Your job is to do your best, make sincere dua, and then let go, believing that whatever happens next is a part of His perfect plan for you. Sometimes the peace you're searching for isn't in changing your circumstances. It's in changing your perspective. The same storm that frightens one heart can strengthen another. The difference is trust. When you trust that Allah is guiding every step, even your detours feel purposeful. Even your delays start to look like divine timing. Think of a seed buried under the soil. It looks dark, buried, forgotten. But that seed is not dead, it's growing. That's how Allah works in your life. You may feel buried right now under pain, uncertainty, or loss. But what looks like an ending is often the beginning of your growth. You just have to trust the process. So breathe. You are not lost. You are exactly where Allah wants you to be. Stop overthinking, stop doubting, and stop trying to control what was never yours to control. When you place your trust in Allah, panic turns into peace, fear turns into faith, and waiting turns into worship. Because when Allah is in control, every step, even the painful ones, leads you closer to peace. My beloved brothers and sisters, remember, life is not about controlling every piece of the puzzle. It's about trusting the one who designed it. When you stop chasing the world and start chasing closeness to Allah, you'll see how everything begins to align naturally. Peace comes not when life is perfect, but when your trust in Allah is firm. So tonight, before you sleep, tell your heart, "I may not understand it now, but I trust Allah's plan. He's working behind the scenes for my good." May Allah grant you a heart full of patience, peace, and unwavering trust in Him. Jazakallah khair for listening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.